Hi, welcome to episode 4 of this mini Virtual Pinball Build series. The pinball table section is, for the most part, complete. This episode I'll be concentrating on the backbox, otherwise known as the backglass. You will also see some tree fall on me. I may be exaggerating. As with the rest of the build, I'm using 18mm MDF to build this. First, I cut all the pieces to rough size with a skill saw. Please note the name skill saw does not reflect my ability to use it. I don't trust myself to cut accurately with this hand tool, and so I'll finish each of these cuts to the final size on the table saw. The oak tree in my garden has been bombarding me with acorns. Watch closely. I hardly flinched. Nerves of steel and disposable underwear. Yes, I know it wasn't actually a tree and it didn't actually fall on me. It was some of a tree and it fell very near me. The backbox has a certain hooded profile, similar to an arcade cabinet. I'm cutting the rough shape here with my jigsaw, ready to be refined with a router and pattern bit. And now I have a final shape I'm happy with. I transfer that to the other side with a pencil, chop it out with the jigsaw, and then route the final shape with the pattern bit. If you watch my bar top build videos, you are probably familiar with this method. If you haven't, give them a watch. I pull some really amusing faces whilst concentrating, and it's quite disturbing. I'm going to cut the slots I need here. They won't be possible to cut once this box is assembled. This is my rough guide to the centre of an 18mm board. A quick test reveals it's a very rough guide. It's worth getting this exactly right. There is a little wiggle room with T-moulding being about 19mm. But it can cause problems for things like tight-fitting back doors if the trim is hanging over the edge by a millimetre. To begin with here, I've only cut the slot up the front of the side panels. Later, I'll decide this will need to be extended due to a small design feature, otherwise known as a mistake. I need a 12-degree bevel on the front of the top board. I have no idea if the T-moulding will still fit with the bevel, but I can work around that if it doesn't. This is the end of the day and my brain decided to have an early lunch. The bevel needs to be on the edge with the slot. Oh dear. What a muppet. Second brain fart here. That's my zero clearance insert plate. It's not meant to be used for bevel cuts. Also, the blade is way too high. My brain needs dinner. Still not spotted the mistake. Nice bevel. Wrong side. Oh well. I'll cut it on the right side anyway and decide to deal with it later. At worst, I'll have to make that board again. Originally, the top board was to line up with the corner of the sideboards. Now that I've made the mistake with the bevel cuts on the top board, I decide to shorten the top board and set it back from the edge. That means I can just cut the back edge of the top board square again. But the T-moulding will now have to go up and over the top edge of the sideboards. I need this sharp corner to be a curve to allow the T-moulding to bend around it smoothly. While I have the slot cutter and the router, I drag the main cabinet out to the garden and cut the slots on the side edges. I'm still not sure if I'll be using T-moulding on the sides yet or angled aluminium. But having the slots won't hurt either way. My first sight of the size and shape of the backbox in real life is always a surprise. A test fit of the screen and speakers I want to install. It's very tight. I have just enough room for the screen side to side and the speakers just fit in the space below the screen. I can always cut bits off the speakers, so if I need more room I can make it. Next it's time to mark out some lines. I need some battens to attach all of this together. The bezel around the screen and the speakers will be made from either 18 or 12mm MDF. I've left room for 18. I have very little room on either side of the screen. The battens at the sides will have to be very thin. And here is some 6mm pine I cut on the table saw. I do enjoy this part of the project. I test nail using some wood to see if the nail is penetrating to the right depth. The top batten can be bigger to give the structure some more rigidity. I cut a bevel in the front to allow the screen room to be inserted. Now I'm making a small mistake. It's nothing major. Can you spot what it is? A big reveal will come in a few moments. That nail went through the side, not by much, but enough to stop the board it would be against from lining up properly. The battens in the back of the box will need to be large and removable. They need to be large so I can make holes for T-nuts to attach to the back door. And being so large, they will stop the screen from being installed. So they won't be glued in place, I'll just screw them in for now. I've recycled some scrap wood, a few passes with a plane, and they are shiny and brand new. Very satisfying. Now that the battens are all in place, I can put the outsides of the back box together. But first I need to correct that small mistake. See this nice bevel corner here? That one is there to allow the screen to slide into its recess in the bezel. This other side? Oops.
Oh.
Do indeed. So first I need to cut another bevel in the correct place. This is a flush cut saw. It has a blunt section at the front of the blade to allow it to ride against the piece of wood you're cutting up to. I wondered for a few moments why this piece didn't just drop off. Then I realised it was also glued in place. A few slices with a chisel to bring it level with the front batten will do. The easiest way to cut a bevel on an edge is with a block plane. I'd rather be cutting it from the other direction with the grain. This way I risk splintering the edge. And there's my splintered edge. Oh well, doesn't matter. This won't be seen. I'll know it's there though, so I clean it up with a chisel. I need my workbench clear for the assembly. I don't want any errant wood chips pushing a board out of alignment. First of all, a test fit. The back battens can come out for now. I don't want any stray glue sticking them in place. Loading up with the correct length brad nails in my 18 gauge nailer. This thing is a godsend. Plenty of glue in these joints. I don't mind a little squeeze out, and it's good to know that the glue is reaching everywhere. Checking for square. As the top edges don't have a batten running the full length of those corners, I chuck a clamp on there while the glue dries to help make a better join. I put one on the bottom too just for kicks, and the whole thing is pulled nicely into almost square. And there it is, assembled. This is the whole table in its probable final form. The fit is good and matches the width of the base section well. I hope you enjoyed keeping me company as I turn bits of wood into smaller flying bits of wood. From this point, the build is about finer details, as I build the insides of the table and then move to finishing the art. If you don't want to miss any of that, then be sure to click all those special YouTube buttons that YouTubers are always on about. And don't forget to say hi in the comments. I love to read them, and I promise to reply to all of the ones that don't point out what a terrible woodworker I am. You can also follow me on Twitter, where I post about the build as it happens. So if you want to keep an eye on the day-to-day progress, come stalk me on Twitter. Until next time, take care.